in lockdown, the Westenders, you were saying what we did, you asked me earlier, we did a thing called Doctor Theatre. We did 12 episodes, and we were all like funny things, some lovely moments, and sending out to Westenders. We have it on Facebook and on Instagram and on Twitter. And we had lots of people following us. And then we did a charity single just about 6 weeks ago, a month or 2 months ago. We recorded One Voice, Barry Manilow One Voice, saying we are all one voice, and the LGBTQ, we've got plus and Black Lives Matter, everything's on the T-shirts that we have, and we're doing it to raise money for the Sussex Beacon, which is in Brighton, just outside of Brighton, and it's a hospice for HIV and AIDS. And well, actually, not just, I think it's a hospice for everybody. And Jill, who is one of our Westenders, there was a TV series that was on beginning of the year, but it was made last year in the beginning, before lockdown. It was called It's a Sin, which you might have heard of. So, and the lead character in it is called Jill, and it's based on Jill Nalder, who is one of our Westenders. And so the girl playing her was Lydia West, but it was written by Russell T Davies, who also was from West Glamorgan County Youth Theatre. So we met when we were 14 years old, and we're all still in touch. But he wrote Queer as Folk, and he brought back Doctor Who, famously. He was the first person to make the Daleks elevate, so that was scary, because we knew back in the 70s that, they'll be all right because there's stairs. They can't get up the stairs. But the Cybermen, and Russell decided, because he and Jill have been friends for many years, very good friends. And he had been talking, because her life in the 1980s was looking after young people and going to visit people with HIV and AIDS in hospitals, because at that time, the life expectancy was only 2 years.
Yeah.
Fortunately, people are still alive now, but our lives then were very different. We cared for our friends, and we found out that some people, it was such a stigma with it. But this program is 5 episodes, and it's based on our Jill. And then Jill is in episodes 4 and 5, playing the mother of herself.
Wow.
So it became a big story. So suddenly Jill was on Good Morning Britain with Ben Shepherd, and then Women's Hour. She's done so many. She was doing 3 interviews a day at one point, because people realized this is a real person's life it's based on. And it's based on our friends. And I had a bit of me in there too.
Yeah. And you were saying you lived at the Pink Palace.
Yeah, well, the Pink Palace was the place that Russell loved the name. We had a flat. There was nothing like the one in the TV show. We found it when we were students, and it was £80 a week in 1980 then it was. And the Pink Palace, we thought it was going to be a dump. It was in West Hampstead. And we walked in, and I went, whoa, gosh, it's beautiful, very glamorous. It was like a lovely your auntie's house, something like that, with pink velvet, dusky pink curtains, and a lovely Draylon, which was at the time, Draylon sofa, which is semicircular in a bay window overlooking gorgeous gardens. And it had real crystal chandeliers, and it was so posh for students. I mean, but it was £80. And so it was £20 each a week. And our grant was only £25 a week, I think. But we afforded it, and we lived there. And we had so much fun. We had parties there. I'd hired a piano in so I could practice piano. And it was just the best place to be. And loads of people. And then Russell, of course, was at Oxford University. So he loved to come down to London and stay at the Pink Palace. So he decided to use that name for the place they all lived in. But that looked a much shabbier place than what we had. Well, we had glamour.
You were like proper posh.
Proper posh. People couldn't believe when they came to our flat in West Hampstead, and it was in NW3, and wow, people said this is gorgeous. Because first of all, we went, oh my God, it's like a palace. It's like a palace. And then someone said, and it's pink. So we thought,